Yeah, I've had one phone. Hi, how are you? Welcome back to The Independents, where I have been joined by my experts and my fellow independents, Reason Magazine editor-in-chief Matt Welch and Camille Foster from Free Think Media. We're all talking about millennials, a group of fickle voters whose political preferences change swiftly and are often taken for granted. Since it's assumed young people either don't vote or they don't care, and older Americans certainly do, politicians have easily kicked this generation in the keister by kicking the can down the road and robbing millennials of Social Security and other entitlements to pay today's retirees. Joining us now, it's Jim Swift from the Weekly Standard. He has been documenting the robbery for years. And are we finally seeing the beginning of a revolution, Jim?
I don't think so. I think millennials, unfortunately, still are drastically uninformed when it comes to the state of all entitlement programs, and it doesn't seem to be a big issue for them on their radar screen, unfortunately.
Is it rational ignorance? Are they blissfully uninformed? Are they purposefully burying their heads in the sand? Or do you think they just haven't come to grips with it?
I think it's a little bit of the latter. I think most millennials understand that these programs are not solvent. They're not, hunky-dory. But what they don't understand is that the trust fund is like the briefcase from the end of Dumb and Dumber.
There's an IOU for a Lamborghini in there.
Yeah,
I'd keep that one.
Better save that one. Yeah.
And Jim, how much time do we have with these programs? If nothing happens, if there are no reforms in the near future, how much time do we have before these programs just go kaput?
Sure. The more dangerous of the two main entitlement programs is Medicare, but in the shorter term, Social Security is what needs to be addressed soonest. 30 years ago, Congress actually did reform Social Security. They accelerated the entire retirement age. They put more taxes to things to taxation. But for 30 years they haven't done anything.
So since then, it's just been on autopilot, increasing for cost of living and inflation and the like, and we're on a collision course with disaster.
Yeah, and nobody in either major political party really wants to stake their claim to address it, right? I mean, Mitt Romney ran away screaming from Social Security. He was demagoguing Rick Perry over Social Security, right? He was going to protect it against the rapacious types like that. Obama, when he was elected, said that, if I kick this can down the road one more time, then my history's going to judge me harshly.
Break an ankle.
And he did it, of course. Can you talk a little bit about Obamacare, how that changes? This is in the kind of category of entitlement, or a big thing at least, and yet this might perhaps actually penalize millennials in a way that they notice.
It's a present-day ass-biter.
Does the present-day ass-biter affect the politics of the stuff?
It does, and I think that may help millennials pay closer attention to entitlements. They now, when they get off their parents' insurance at age 26, have to go out and get their own, assuming they can get it through their employer. And now they have to see how they pay for this on their own, and it kind of is maybe a later entry into adulthood.
Yeah, I mean, they wake up and they see, oh my God, I'm paying 18% more for crappier insurance to pay for old people who might actually have money, who make more money than I do. Holy underwear, I better take a look at Social Security and Medicare, because I'm probably getting robbed blind there too. Well, I mean, you hope it happens that way, but how do you get it to happen that way?
Well, when they, let's assume they get their first job out of college. They're going to look at their first paycheck, and odds are they're probably going to pay more in payroll taxes than they are in income taxes, unless they live in a high state like New York with high taxes. And they're going to look at that and say, wow, this is a large portion of my paycheck that is going to taxes.
I could be buying recreational marijuana with this.
Yes.
You work for the Weekly Standard, which is conservative magazine, so it is concerned with Republican politics. Do you see, since the Tea Party generation of 2010, which of course the Weekly Standard was very enthusiastic about it every step of the way, do you see more of an appetite among Republicans to talk openly about real entitlement before reform than you saw before?
I do think that the Tea Party is many things, and one of the things that I'd say is a positive aspect of it is the willingness to talk about these tough changes that need to happen. And unfortunately, despite the Tea Party's resurgence in 2010, Congress took $200 billion out of the Social Security Trust Fund to give people a little tax cut in their.
There still doesn't seem to be much energy, though, behind things like private accounts. I mean, largely the big ideas that are being entertained now are limiting the pool of people who are actually receiving benefits from a program like Social Security.
Lifting the cap on people who make more than 108 grand a year.
So I wonder, again, what are we actually going to see changes that could affect these programs for the long term? I mean, we talked about Obamacare, for example, but these people are going to see higher premium costs, but are they going to attribute that to government intervention, or are they going to attribute it to rapacious insurance companies who just want to get as much money as they can? And
I think they're
it's not
smarter
clear.
than that. I mean, I think even if they're not engaged about Social Security, certainly they see the correlation between a brand new entitlement and their health care going down.
And the polls always show that they know that they're not going to get their money. I mean, it's just a question of how
With Social
much.
Security,
Yeah,
right.
with Social Security. It's just a question of how much does that bother them right now when you're 25 years old.
Yeah.
Bother you? You're 25, right? You're like 21.
Well, you know, I've worked for the government for 5 years, so I have that fat pension coming my way.
Well, I'm just glad you didn't take a handful of pills and you're here today to talk to us. Please come back again, okay?
Great, will do. Thank you.
All right, very good. College is expensive and boring, and it's a one-way ticket to Debtsville. Is there a better plan to stay out of debt and get a high-paying job? Mike Rowe thinks there's nothing dirty about these wonderful jobs. He's going to join us next.